Edward Snowden. So I'm a little delicate right now on some of that stuff.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
No, I wanna get your thoughts on a concept.
Sure.
Because I agree. I think the stories, and then of course the stories we tell ourselves drive all of our beliefs, all of our behaviors. Right? But what I've grown to understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, raw experience drives stories. So we experience something, it creates a story. Are we going?
It's rolling, but for whatever reason I'm frozen here.
Yeah, someone was calling me. My bad. So this is like the very first lesson in my school, which is the equation of change. And it's just the basic understanding that we experience things, those experiences create stories, those stories drive our beliefs and behaviors. So what my program does is it brings you through an experience first. This is raw reality without a story to it quite yet. So I'll give you an example of how I use this in business. Bo Pierce, right? He needed help getting kids in his chiropractic office. So I asked him, well, why aren't people coming? And they say, well, they don't, parents don't think kids should be adjusted. It's dangerous or whatever. And I said, is that true? He said, no. So I said, okay, here's our marketing strategy. When a kid needs chiropractic, we're just going to bring people through the experience. Okay, we're not going to tell them what to think about it. We're just going to bring them from an experience level, let them create the story of what that means.
And their own beliefs. It
did, in a way, this is where I'm trying to get with you at, is the difference between raw experience and story, pre-story, I guess you could say. Because it's really
Persuasion.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name who wrote the book there? He wrote 2 really amazing books, Persuasion.
Oh, yeah.
And, shit. Anyway.
I have it in my Audible.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I have both of them on Audible.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it.
But I'm forgetting his name right now. They're phenomenal books. Very, very worthwhile. If you're in the business or marketing or storytelling world, definitely worth watching.
Yeah. But the whole concept is like, yes, stories do drive everything. But what happens when you bring people into more of or when does it become a story? Because like for us, it could have, because there was intent behind it. And I think intent is where stories start. I think in one way start developing. But for that, we didn't tell people what to think. We just brought them through an experience of a kid crying his face off, got adjusted, went out calm and happy. And we put it out on an ad, and in 6 days filled up the whole roster. And shut off the ad, done. Wow. And it's not that we told people what to think of it. We said, here's this experience, develop your own story from it and what you believe happened here.
Yeah.
And
but you hit upon I think part of the brilliance of what you are doing in that is that by hitting upon a curiosity that people might already have about it, or a preconceived notion that people might already have about something like that.
Yeah, it all starts with a false belief.
Exactly. Because a false belief then triggers that person's going to pay attention. Oh my God, I can't believe you're giving away, you know what I mean? Like you're doing this to kids, like, and then they watch a video and they're like, oh, okay, maybe not. You know what I mean? Like the idea of like the first part of a very good story told in video has to capture attention. And that is a difficult thing to do. And it's increasingly more difficult, even though it's still not saturated, but it's more difficult mainly because the algorithms are more difficult. But if done well, it could be very, very, very helpful. Yeah. What are how do you teach video storytelling in your program or in, some of the stuff that you do? Like, because my experience of who you are is that you're a perfect mix between a creative and an entrepreneur. You have very entrepreneurial thoughts, so you understand that the business person, what their needs are and what they're actually looking for. So you're very good at communicating that, and you're very good at making like really good concepts around that. Even just like the concept you just spoke about in this video, for example. But what about, I think most creatives focus too much on like, how am I going to make it look beautiful? Yeah. How am I going to get the perfect slider shot or pan or whatever, the nice transition? You're not so focused on that. Not to say that your videos aren't beautiful. They totally are. You're very well versed in production. What is it about, like, how do you create really good stories? Like, how did you think about that in that way? If you could break it down, like, how do you approach telling a story?
Yeah. Well, as you know, we're not allowed to talk about equipment in our community. One other thing we're not allowed to do is script. So let's first look at this, because what we do is teach people how to play with reality, raw experience, but you can't always, people need to give information, and that information needs to be molded. So let's take the video business card process, for example. What we teach people to do, first step of a video business card, is to have something called a deep dive, where it's the same process, who, why, what, how, call to action, but we're just like learning for hours about a company. And then what we do is we sit them down for an interview and we sharpshoot so we already know kind of what we're looking for, but no scripting. So we have a conversation. We let people.
So you have some leading questions, like questions that are going to extract particular elements of what a good story might be.
Yeah.
But not necessarily getting them to there's no teleprompter, there's no them being all stressed out that they don't know their lines or that they're not saying it perfectly.
Yeah.
You're just really getting them into a state, and then from there they can express.
Well, here's what's, in my opinion, what's missing from video production when it comes to business is reality is missing. So in real life, you're not reading from a script, right? We're in a world where skepticism is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Right. People not only crave authenticity, but they demand it.
Yeah.
So if you're not actor grade quality talent, you're not reading a script. So what we're trying to do is summon reality into our videos, because that's what works and that's what influences people. So above just sharpshooting for certain information, there's an energy to it.
Yeah.
Like they have to be energetically attuned to how people are before there's a camera in the room, because we have to honor the fact that we're trying to bring that back. So above just information, we train our warriors on how to tap into and try to summon the authenticity, because that will, you can stumble your words all day, but if you can get across intent and ability, you can influence people to take a risk with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that falls with story. I stay away from the word storytelling just because in our community, just because I think it could be misconceived as a ton of things. There's stories that could be told with color, with audio, framing, scripting. I just stay away from it. We're here to grow a business, look at a business's operations and unbind them from the limited. The way we play with it. But of course, their story does get told.
Yes.
Because, the interview is talking about why they do and what they do. And so it's cool. There is a story element to it.
It's not the focus. It's not the way that you've focused on growing your own career and the clients that you're serving, and now the clients that you're teaching.
Yeah.
Right. The people that you're teaching to do this stuff. And I think that's really good, because that's where people are really willing to invest immediately. Right. I've spent a lot of time in the art of storytelling, and that's where you get caught up in how good the camera looks, how blah, blah, blah. I mean, look at this. The setup in and of itself is part of that me geeking out on it. And it's ironically, it's far from where I want it to be. You know what I mean? And somebody looking at this is are you fucking crazy? But it's true. For me, I know that I can get this further and further and further, and I'm obsessed with that. But if I were to value more the story sometimes, and not the way that the story is told through the tools, I could do a lot better. And when I do that, when I tend to do that more for clients than I do for myself, honestly, is because I have to convert. For them, I have to do the thing that's just the 80-20.
Yeah.
Because I have to either sometimes do it because of their budget, or because I'm of my own interest, or because of I just need to do the thing that converts and just save them all the trouble. Yeah. Whereas I'm more kind of willing to do all the artistic, artsy, interesting stuff from another perspective, because I'm geeking out quite literally.
Yeah.
And so you're just cutting all that noise and nonsense and just getting right to what works. And I love that. I love it. I really respect your dedication to what does the data show? What are you currently doing? How are you currently already demonstrating your superpowers, and where is that working? And how do we capture that? So you're not inventing it, right? That's why where storytelling it's not a fabrication. It is a fabrication only from the perspective of how you cut it together, and what tonality and shots and framing and stuff you use could all support that same story. But the idea behind it is still very real and authentic. And that, like you said, that is in very short supply, to the point where we don't know anything of what's real anymore. And I think we're coming up, or I believe we're going to start butting up against the breakdown of traditional marketing techniques. Already, apparently, webinars are not doing as well as they did 4 years ago.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like the traditional webinar sequence is just not working as well as it used to.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. And it's just because we've been so saturated with so many online marketers. And then there's so many people teaching people how to do the exact formula.
Yeah, and you can only blame the platform and the tool for so long.
Absolutely.
You know, like I'll still get on a cold call or a cold email.
Yeah.
Something that's way out of date. But with the right understanding of human psychology and my own message, I'll convert. You know, so, but
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, there's some tools that are exciting and convert, but, you know, nothing will, in marketing, if we're talking marketing, is ever going to, you're never going to be a good marketer unless you learn human psychology and your own message.
Yeah.
You know, and if you nailed that, it doesn't matter the medium.
Yeah.
You know, some are very more efficient than the others, but if you really want to be a good marketer, it's about like understanding that.
Yeah.
Because you can switch out the platforms all day.
Yeah. 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 Don't focus so much on the platform. Focus on the message.
Yeah.
And that's where the story is real.
That's where marketers are going to get slammed because they just care about the tool sometimes, and then you know they don't deploy enough of their heart into the things.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. How do you feel about the saturation of people kind of inauthentically, like, it must irk you to see some of these funnels that some people build. When you come across some like a bad video, you know, webinar or just a bad video in general, like, how does that make you feel? Because for me, it makes me disgusted with the state of marketing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, there's a couple ways to think about it.
Yeah.
For me, I put it this way: like some of the most powerful speakers and motivators of our time used to be drug addicts, right? And if they weren't, they wouldn't be as powerful as they are now. So I look at this as nature, and I try not to fight nature too much. Like for me, just from a selfish note, like it makes me stand out like a sore thumb because I'm not any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes my business plenty successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind. I guess the hard part is that the people who hire these guys are not getting results, but even that's their own learning experience. You know, so it's in a very meta spiritual way. This is just like a process playing itself out.
Yeah. Weeding out
and that's just how I feel. You know, I look at people who are ripping other people off, and I feel bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at the same time, I'm proud that they're going through the process that led me where I'm, you know, just trial and error. It's like they're going to realize that that's not the way to get money long term, and it's not a good way to have a reputation, and it doesn't bring fulfillment, and it doesn't make them proud to say what they do. And I think, you know, the human spirit will guide them to the right place eventually, and a place where they wouldn't be able to be guided unless they fucked up like that.
Yeah. It's a fine line, too. I will say that. You know, I was like, for example, I'm launching a new course called Passion to Profit. And I had like the whole idea of like, should it be $1,000 or should it be $997?
Yeah.
Like just even that conversation. I know $997 probably works better in psychology. For me, it makes me sick. In a way, in a weird way. At the same time, I know that if somebody takes a course, the likelihood that they're empowered is high. And if they don't love it, they can get their money back. So at the end of the day, I'm empowering people to get information. And if they want it and if they find it valuable, they get it, and so be it. So should I do the thing that I believe might make more sense? And what's the more authentic version nowadays?
Well, which one do you want to do more?
The one I want to do is...
What's driving the decision?
For me now, what's driving the decision is the difference between what works and what's art. Like what's real.
You mean works as in gets the sale?
Gets the sale.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I think what works... data, I think false data to some degree, but widely believed data at least.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Is that $997 is probably a better price to put on the sales page.
I feel the same way. I've had this argument with my partner, like multiple. It's not even an argument. It's just like a discussion. If you go to our page right now, and try to buy our program, it literally says, "Oh, I wish."
I mean, I can pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love if you pull it up, but it says something like, you know what? I'm gonna wait because this is just too perfect.
What's the? Where do I go?
0towarrior.net. So TO. Please don't go to this website. That's not the point of this if you're out there watching.
If you're
I'm not
watching
trying to
this.
plug. Okay, go down to where the pricing is.
Loading for half a second.
So my course is it's $2,000 to become a part of our thing.
Yeah.
But there's a
Do I
little.
have to press register today to get to the price?
No, I think. Oh, maybe. Go ahead. You see like a little disclaimer about the price.
The ethical move.
Here we go.
Yeah. The ethical move.
This is all Marcus right now, right here.
For years, we've wrestled with using the psychological tactic of pricing what we sell via numbers like $9.97 or $19.95 or $29.99. Does this pricing strategy work on human brains? Yes. Does that mean we actually have to use it? No. We've joined the movement to sell things using whole numbers devoid of mental persuasion schemes. Fuck yes, Marcus. Fuck yes. See, that's the real deal. Like, no, I mean that.
Yeah, it's a frame.
For me, there's something. I believe that this is going to become more popular now.
Yeah, it's always like
I
that.
believe that, and ironically, I'm not even doing it for the movement of it. I'm doing it because this is what I believe should be the reality. And it's just like, I'm stepping away. I no longer identify as a marketer. Period. I hate, like, I cannot do more of it anymore. And it's not because I've ever done anything shady for anybody, but I'm seeing the state of where the entire industry is going. And I've actually done a phenomenal job of avoiding it to my own detriment, meaning I could have made more money had I used the things that I know, right? The 997s are an example of that. Adding countdown timers to sales pages are examples of that.
Sure.
Adding arrows that point to buttons that we want people to click on and steps that we want them to take as part of that. And I'm not going to shun anybody who uses that, specifically people who are like tech challenged, who just sign up for ClickFunnels or sign up for lead pages or whatever, any version of that they're doing, because they don't have other options. They're not coders, developers, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I've just chosen to step fully into the art of not doing that, like on purpose. And I'm not going to lie, like a huge part of why it took me so long to rebuild Superhero Academy from the time you and I met is that we had decided, because of a conversation with, a good friend of mine who is more of a marketer, he was like, no, we should go to the subscription model and I'll help you, nah. And Garrett kind of agreed. And I agreed to some degree, but I wasn't sure. I never thought that dropping the price meant that we would get more sales or that it would do better. I believe that people should pay more money if there's real information. And I believe the Skillshares and the Udemys of the world are kind of destroying the fabric of what we even consider to be education nowadays. Online too, because they're eroding the value that we're putting on real people building real businesses that really teach stuff and they're actually profitable. Because Skillshare at $11 a fucking, a month is not going to pay even if people are watching hours and hours and hours, you're not going to make enough money compared to running a real school and real business compared to doing it where you do sell your course at $2,000.
Yeah, I think for me in our business, we do not expect anyone to buy our stuff because we have a good sales message or a good page or whatever.
Yeah.
We strictly feel that the only way we deserve a sale is if we've gotten results for people. And I think that's what would set us apart. I don't care how people feel about. I don't care that people are giving away courses just like ours for free. I don't care that someone hacked our course and is trying to give it out for free. Like, I don't care.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
dude, we had some weird stuff happen for our
I believe
courses.
it.
But the point being is,
believe
like,
it.
if you really want the best marketing in the world, if you want your brand to be the best marketing, what you need, in my opinion, need to do is to basically amplify the stories and results that you've gotten for people and create a decentralized peer-to-peer situation where somebody who's getting results is talking to the next wave of people. Because the thing is you can only relate to so many people. So what we've done in our business is created a situation where we pour everything into our customers. They get their money's worth. And then they go out and are incentivized to go out to help the next round. And I think if anything's going to cut through the bullshit of the marketing industry. It's watching 1,000 people telling you not to buy the course, but believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need help with?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to get the help they need. And then it's like, yeah, if you want in the club, like we have things here and there's meetups and like we do cool stuff, but you don't need to buy, don't come in, like fix this problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem
Just
that
focus
our
on
movement
value.
is designed to solve.
Yeah.
We have people come in, steal the info and leave. And I commend them because they're they're part of the movement.
Yep.
Forget the program. Like they're part of our movement. And I think when people start taking their stuff seriously and they take that Elon Musk route, right? He's trying to make the world sustainable energy. He said, fuck it. Like every car maker, here's all my stuff.
Yep.
Take it, build better stuff. We got to get this problem going.
Yeah.
Like take out my business. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like that's how seriously and also excitingly I take our movement. It's because like I just want to see businesses survive. I see them close every single day. I see people frustrated. And I see problems go unsolved to be picked up by large, I'm just going to say large corporate people who have the money to invest in the psychology of their stuff, and they scoop up and they mass scale, and the intimacy is lost most of the time. And I just believe businesses, small to medium, are the keys to our world right now. And they need to be propped up and given a chance.
Yeah.
And I've been on this cross-country road trip, and I call them corp cubes, but it's just like these boxes of like these corporate companies just everywhere I go. And it's it's cool, but I really believe in business. I believe in your business. Like I believe in all the superheroes out there, and you deserve to have a fighting chance, and I think video gives you that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think video empowers us in a big way.
Yeah,
in
it's a
huge
physics
way.
thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you approach it, and I love that you mentioned Elon Musk, because Elon is one of my heroes, and I know you have a new Tesla, and I want to talk about that. I want to drive it too.
Wish we could duplicate that. I want to get you one. I want to start like the biggest referral channel
for Teslas.
I want to get the most people in Teslas than anyone's ever gotten.
There are some people who are crushing that. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
There are people who have gotten like multiple free Teslas for the fact that they made videos talking about them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. That's exactly how they did it.
Well, the referral model is genius.
It's genius.
If you take my referral link, I get 1,500 supercharging miles. You get 1,500 supercharging miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, if you don't take my referral code, neither of us get that.
Yeah.
So it's a
It's
cool
just
model.
creating a win-win scenario.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think it's a lot of people have the skepticism of buying something new, like a new technology, until they've seen somebody else use it and are like, okay, do you love it? Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Like, can I try it? And then boom, they get in it.
Boom.
And it's just like, oh my God, that car, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the first time I was ever in a Tesla was with Kimmel Musk?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
One of my first, yeah. Literally.
Dang, now that I know a little bit about Kimball, I'd imagine you guys...
I met Kimmel Musk and like, yeah, anyway, long story short, yeah, it's just a beautiful... Yeah. I got to ride in my favorite ever car and then meet Elon Musk's brother.
Which model was it?
S.
The S?
Yeah.
Was it the performance model?
Yeah,
totally. Super fast.
Yeah. I mean...
That was just named the fastest four-door in history.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fastest. Yeah. It's the best everything. It's like the best car. Like, even Joe Rogan talks about it. He's like, it's just a better... I love that because he's a car guy.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like a muscle car guy, too. He's like a Porsche dude or whatever. He's like he's a classic kind of car buff, let's say.
They do everything better.
But it's just a better car.
Yeah.
It's self-driving. It's and it's not autopilot, but it is, but it could be. The only reason it isn't is just because there's just more data. We just need more people using it and laws. And more importantly, it's the laws.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. You must have used it a ton on So for context here, you've driven from Santa Barbara.
Yeah, California.
All the way to, well, you're now in Montreal. And then you're going to drive all the way back. You're on this 60-day road trip in your brand new Tesla Model 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you choose to get rid of your studio and just embark on this massive journey?
Yeah. Well, I think we're in a place in our business where our programs are set up, our products are sealed. Our community is amazing. They're helping each other. They're literally marketing and selling for us every moment of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a situation where you have a great product and it's ready to sell and you have that
community engagement.
Yeah, you have the infrastructure for people to,
you have school.
pitch you and stuff. School. The last piece of the puzzle, and it's not even the last piece, but the next job, the next kind of thing you need to do for the rest of your life is to energize your community.
Yeah.
So
So the tour made sense.
the best way to create energy is change, right? So, this is the combination of a couple things, but what I'm doing is I held applications, and I picked 7. I was supposed to pick 6. I picked 7 students. I was going to go to work with them for 3 days, completely immersed. Master their messaging. Like, this is about defense. Master their messaging. Not just like knowing what it is, how to speak it. I'm going to build their video business card. Because when you're a video warrior, you still need somebody else building your video business card. You can't just do it yourself because you need the deep dive process. You
need somebody to extract. It's hard for you to extract your own genius, and that's the most difficult part that I have. The biggest challenge that I've had in many scenarios, and I told you this when you even filmed my course, is like, I know everything about video, but I can't film myself. Yeah. I cannot extract my own message powerfully.
Yeah.
Because it's just difficult.
Why.
Yeah, of course.
You're too close to the thing to see the whatever.
Yeah, no,
such a paraphrase. You're too close to the thing to see whatever.
We just talked about this a million times because we know it is true.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah. It's a universal thing. But anyways, I'm going 3 days to work with them, master their messaging, film their VBC, edit their VBC, build their discovery site, do all the copy for it, and start some outreach for them in those 3 days. And mind you, I'm the inventor of the video business card. So there's already been over $1 million sold, over $10 million in wealth created with these things, and we're just like getting started here. Yeah. But the point is like this to me. This is like a Navy SEAL kind of trip. Like, it's very hard stuff. I did this because it made me nervous. Doing something like this, because not just making it for these guys and seeing their results, but our tribe is very tribal. So when they see this stuff, like my video business card has been copied almost word for word dozens of times. Anything we say or do is followed pretty well, and we love that. Like, we are grateful, and we take the responsibility of that. But I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of ideas out there, but not just ideas. If you look at these VBCs, they're all different, because what makes a VBC different is looking inward and pulling from your own story and your own reasoning. So you get to see 7. I've only done 3, going to my 4th, but you're going to see 7 very different things that are unduplicatable because you're not them. And I hope it turns people inward a bit. So yeah, that's what this trip is all about. And it's 60 days, and damn, it's nuts.
Where are the 7 cities that you were stopping, or you're supposed to stop in, to help these 7 students?
Yeah, well, I'm going to, and I have I've already done Los Angeles, Kansas City, and Chicago.
Okay.
Now I have New Jersey, Texas, Colorado, and Oregon to go. So I'm super pumped. I picked, like I said, these are applications, so I picked each of these guys very intentionally. Each of them kind of suffer from a different problem, and yeah, it's super cool. I think the biggest thing I hope people take from this is, like, have you ever heard of a coach doing this? Of like a course, like something like this insane, just
properly? No, yeah, very few.
And I'm not trying to distance myself or trying to act good or anything, but I guess
no. I mean, I think you can distance yourself in some ways. You're
for
doing
the
something
point.
Really amazing. I think it's yeah.
But I want to do it to make a point, which is that customer obsession, man. Yeah. With the right infrastructure, like I said, if you can get obsessed about your customers and put them in a situation to tell other people about it, like, that's the key.
Let them have the results.
That's the key to
result. Let the results that
guide everything.
Yeah.
If you have an infrastructure for a community and you get a customer obsessed, that's unlimited customer support 24/7. Yeah. Do you want that in your business? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unlimited marketing, unlimited sales in an ecosystem, cataloged. Like, talk about defense. Like, you can go
because you have to build the infrastructure, which you did,
and it's all there always.
So all your defense is there, and there'll always be more. There's always more to build or more to create. Let's say there's always more that you can turn on. Let's say, but the core element is there, and now the core reason why the community is there, and the core niche that the community is in is there.
Yep.
So now you've just got the perfect storm for an absolutely empowering tribe of people that can come together.
It's the idea of, like, they say this in negotiation or sales, but one belief's always going to it's a thing of belief. Mm-hmm. One belief is going to supersede and absorb the other belief. When you come into our tribe, there's no way you're not going to believe in yourself and your own capabilities. Our belief is too strong. We built an ecosystem of people who strongly believe in themselves and have created tangible results because of it. When you come into our space, you believe in yourself and you believe in our program, there's hardly anything you can do. And we welcome criticism and stuff. We've had one refund, and they didn't even deserve the refund. But we've literally, like, you know,
just give it back.
Yeah, but you know, this is a game of, you know, getting people to believe in your stuff because they're so skeptical. And I just believe, like I said earlier, that the best way to get past this is peer to peer. So getting other people to talk to other. That's why the testimonial video was so big when it came out. Not as great these days, but if you do it traditionally. But the point is getting people to talk about each other is big influence.
Yeah,
because they don't have incentive.
Yeah, well, too many people are also look at me. They just want to make the videos about them and how cool they are.
Yeah,
but they're just not giving the shout out to the other people.
Yeah,
they're just not like allowing their community to be engaged and involved.
Yeah, like if you look at our sales video for Zero to Warrior, not now, but
yeah,
it's just like we're not even in it. It's just literally like dozens of videos cut together of people talking about our stuff.
Beautiful.
And how it's changed their life. It's like, that's what we are.
Yeah.
You know, it's not us. We are a tribe. We are a process. We are a movement. It's big.
I love that.
We are superheroes.
No, I love that. I love that you know, it's funny for me, it's kind of full circle because meeting you got really, I remember filming my course, How to Build a School, with you in Santa Barbara. And you were just like obsessed with learning from me what my process was around building real tribe. And like how is it a hero's journey? How is it more than just a course? How is it a real community? What does that look like? What does that mean? What is the infrastructure of that? And it's like you asked me a bunch of questions, I remember, all of which were super helpful for me to make the course. Many of which I already knew were, you know, questions that people had, but some of which were quite novel. And then to watch you implement all of it, and like make it your own, like you're doing things that I didn't say. Like I love you shared with me on your free Facebook group that people post about their deal closed, right?
Sure, yeah.
That they like closed a video gig and they got a video gig through using their methods.
And here's how I did
some
it.
of them are not even in your course. Some people maybe, like most of them are, and that's why they're closing deals. But some of them maybe are just like watching the group and they're like, oh, I got a new client, and like they're all excited about it.
Yep.
And the likelihood that they sign up later is very high.
Yeah.
And they're signing up, and it's like it's back to the Gary Vee frame of mind, which is they're scaling the thank you. Some people are just signing up because they're like, I just want proximity. I just want to talk to you. I just want to like have you know that I really appreciate you and the community you've built. And $2,000 flat, not $19.95, is important. Is important for them and is super instrumental. And at the end of the day, it's probably one client, right? Like that's at least surely what you're teaching them. Like, hey, go out there and sell a video for $5,000, because if it's done right, that video is worth $5,000 plus to that person easily.
Yeah.
You know, to the right business and to the right person and done tastefully.
Easy.
It's easily worth that.
Yeah.
And so it's just a no-brainer when you're really focused on that.
Yeah, man.
So what would you tell somebody who's like listening to this and they're one of two people? They're either love video.
Yeah.
And you know, they're paying attention and they want to learn more about what you're doing, where they can go figure this out. And then number two is they're an entrepreneur, but they're still on the fence. Like they're thinking the video is saturated. Why is it not? Why is it like, why should they really start making video right now?
Well, I'll start with a belief. I mean, I believe your business won't survive without it. And it comes back to that, the physics, like of where we're at. Like this isn't about video. Think of video like perhaps like a language.
Yeah.
Right? Like video isn't the sentence, it's the language. So it's not, it shouldn't be seen as a tool that's going to commoditize, if that makes sense. Like, oh, everyone's doing video.
Yeah.
It's just not how I think about it. The way I think about it is unbinding time. Unbinding the limitations of where you're at right now. And I think any business or person out there who runs a business that really has something that helps people Like this is my message to you, and I'm sure you can use video if you don't have these things, but I'm here to tell you that if you have something that helps somebody, um, you don't need to be anybody to make a video. Like, in fact, that's the best way to make a bad video, is trying to act like somebody else. So you already are. Nobody relates to perfection. Just know that. Like, you're the key. You've been told it by 100, self-help people. I'll be the next one. Like, you are who you need to be. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People demand authenticity. 2, it's not about you anyways. So making video is not about like making you look good or whatever.
Yeah.
This is about A, business survival, and B, impacting as many people as you can,
Mm-hmm.
and scaling into that. So for anybody who's skeptical about video, wake the fuck up. Like, seriously, because this isn't about you. This isn't about how you feel about something. I think people's biases are to their detriment sometimes, their own nostalgic or their own stigma, I guess you could say. Again, you've had experiences that have driven stories that are now routing how you're behaving, and I think hopefully that's why I'm here, is to create a new dynamic thing. And then video people, always be able to explain to yourself and to others why you're worth what you're charging. And it's okay for just a second to understand that you're only worth, if not very little, nothing at all, because you're taking time and you're creating this bad stigma. From that place of truth, you can begin building up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can listen back to this podcast, and you could talk about, and you can look at different ways of thinking about this. But video people need to put some real thought behind this, because the reason that my company exists is because smart business owners wake up and they hear all these great things about video, that we talk about, and then they go invest in it, thousands of dollars, hundreds or whatever, and then it flops and they have a bad experience.
Yep.
And then now they're blaming it on video. That's the problem that video people are creating, is a stigma around this. And if you're just out there making really nice videos that aren't bringing hard business results and you're charging money, just reevaluate, because this is bad long term. And it's
bad for you too.
Yeah, and the only reason it's bad, the real reason you should take this seriously, is because video is the most powerful business tool in the world, and you're doing this with it. And no blame to you. The industry was set up like this. Like, I get it. It's sexy. It's fun. But you need to stop playing around in a place where there's problems in the world. And this is the key to it. And this is something that you're yielding a very powerful weapon and play an important part in this conversation if you make video, because of how unlimited it is. So I would just say take it seriously. The good news is you can have massive impact, make massive sales, drive lots of results, get a lot of fulfillment, and live the life that you want if you do it right. So that the good news is the upside is fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about the person who's scared of getting on camera? A lot of business people out there, they're like, oh, well, I'm not sure. Video is not for me, because they don't feel like they have a story to tell. They feel like they're nervous on camera. I guess that's part of why your deep dive is so important, is that you're not trying to prep them for the camera. You're trying to prep them to just tell their own story.
Yeah. Well, it's not, as you know this, man, that it's not a video problem. This is a problem they're going through with their own self-image and stuff.
Totally.
My tactic would be to do live streams, to cut out the ability to re-edit yourself and to shape yourself.
So exactly like this.
Yes. So I believe live stream's the best way to find your voice, because it takes out the inability to redo.
Yeah.
The next step to live stream would be interviewing.
Yeah.
So to have someone interview you. And as you start to understand that this, A, isn't about you, but B, like, it's not about being anyone. It's about,
Just tell me, not sell me.
yeah, it's about not changing.
Yep.
Like, when you realize that concept of not changing, that's when you can begin building actual confidence. I think video builds confidence.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but I think there's a lot of people who resist it because they just never tried.
Yeah.
And or because they just feel like they don't look good in pictures, they don't blah, blah, blah. Like, that's so there's an internal confidence game that they're playing. But then there's the layers of them just not, I don't know. I've heard people like, I don't want to be public about what I do. I'm like, well, you run a business, so you don't want to be public in your business? Like, do you want your brand to be public? I mean, like, and then
this is where it becomes about their goals. Like, 100%. Are you trying to grow your business? Or are you trying to help people?
Yeah. And then the other thing is like, okay, can you hire somebody to express your business at least? Like, what about somebody who works for your business, who's really passionate about it and is happy to be on video, right? Like, it doesn't have to be you necessarily. It doesn't always have to be the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. if you're not doing video in 2019, and if you don't have a big video strategy, you are missing the boat for sure.
Yeah, I'm worried.
I mean, I feel like I'm missing the boat on live streaming. And I'm like one of the only people I know doing it. Yeah, I'm live right now. And I actually feel like I'm missing it. Like, and I know I'm not really, but at the same time, if I get faster to this market, it's huge because, man, there are more people watching esports than there are people watching normal sports nowadays. And that's all live streaming. Yeah. That's all people recording on Twitch or whatever Mixer or whatever platform they're on, or YouTube Games or whatever it is. That shit is like, you know, you mentioned skateboarding, and you mentioned that you were offered porn gigs or whatever, right? Or adult
I was alluding gigs. To it.
Yeah,
sure.
What I'm trying to say is you didn't do it, but those gigs drove video. Video streaming systems were grown through the fact that the porn industry wanted to deliver content and remove the barrier, remove the awkwardness of having to go in some video store in that weird back room that was in a Blockbuster or whatever it was, right? And so I think skateboarding innovated video. The angles, the lenses, like skateboarding was
and
huge
the limits.
For video and community and
the limits of what you can film.
And the limits of what you can film and how you can film it.
Crazy shit.
Exactly, right? And they invented like the run and gun style more than and documentaries did too in some ways. But you get what I mean? Like, so there are industries that massively impact video and the way video is done. And I believe that live streaming and sharing is the new version of authenticity, because I cannot not be authentic. I am on a live stream right now. Yeah. So I am who I am. Now, can I put on a character? Could I have put on makeup or done whatever? Sure. Right? Can I dress the lights and do all the things and make sure that I pick the right angle that makes my face look nice or something? Maybe. Yeah. But either way, my character has to bleed through this. Yeah. And I think that's what people are looking for. And it gets better.
It's all about pattern recognition. Like, if people understood, I think this is a time for this discussion for people to understand how their psychology works. Yeah. Because it's like, think back to the first time, like, you went to a dance or you had sex or like whatever these things were that were like super anticipated, and then you did it and it was like whatever. Yeah. Like, and then you got excited about it and you wanted to do it again. Or it's like, this is video. It's like, we just need to deploy a little bit of understanding of how we work, because it's not like you don't hear any stories of people like, oh, I live streamed and it got worse. Yeah. Like, everybody, it's just like anything else. Yeah. So, you know, to people who want to create this, you know, scenario where this is like some special, really scared thing, it's not. But, you know, everything's a little scary before you have that experience that creates the new story that drives what you believe. It's like, go experience it, go do a live stream and do 10 of them, you know, and do it for somebody else. Don't do it for you. Stop thinking about it. That's like such a selfish thing. Like, I don't like it. I don't like the way I look. That's why I love business, because this business isn't about you. So if you want to enter into this arena with me, like, you must leave your own ego at the side and come at service for others. Because when you come with that spirit, you know, you're going to leave behind these fears of video, or at least you're going to have to. Yeah.
So with that said, I want to leave people with some of the value that you've shared here tonight. I know you've got a Facebook group that's crushing it for professional videographers and people who want to learn about that kind of stuff. I know you have like a 4-5-part video series actually that teaches people some of the genius that you know and that I know you give away. Yeah. Where can they learn more about you or anything like that? How can they find you, stay connected to you?
Yeah, I've been on a couple of these interviews. First off, I just want to say, like, if you want to know more, please just repeat this podcast. Honestly, I mean, repetition is so big. Right now, I'm here. I'm on a fierce mission. You know, Mark was giving me all these other opportunities earlier that I had to say no to because it just like didn't align. And, you know, helping entrepreneurs find me right now is something that I'm just not focused on. Yeah. But please watch this again. If you happen to be a videographer, you can go to, and you want to, you know, build a business and have this impact, you can go to howtosellvideoproduction.com. We have a 5-part free video series at videosellingstarterkit.com. But our community is How to Sell Video Production. You know, we deny more people than we let in. But again, if that's you and you're a video guy, you'll find the most powerful tribe in the world. If you're not a video person, don't even attempt it unless you want to try to lie to us. But like, you will not get let in to our tribe. We're fiercely training to help people like you. So, but we'll eventually have more platforms. But again, That's
Are
what,
you curating on like Facebook groups or just like clicking on profiles and seeing what they say and what they look like?
well, we have questions, and then if we're
If you're suspicious,
we'll go look, and yeah. So
I love that. I love that you're very powerfully curating.
Yeah.
I think that's something like really beautiful about the way that you're approaching it, and it's actually the direction I want to go in more myself.
Sure.
You know, I've built a bit of a reputation around mass audience, but I don't feel like I feel like I've reached 1 million people like an inch, but I'd rather reach like 1,000 people a mile.
deep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you've changed a lot of lives, man. Like I've seen it, and I think it's just a matter of
Have I?
you have, but they're not like just from what I've seen, like in your group, and I went to your event, and I know like how deeply you can change lives. I just don't think it's as quantifiable to you as it is to us. Like we've engineered systems to quantify these things.
Yeah. I have some like I have some systems that can tell me the numbers, but I see the numbers of like, you know, our Facebook page is like 620,000 people.
Yeah. But I
don't
results.
feel that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel the impact of that on me. And so I'm not talking even about like the business numbers. I'm talking about like, I don't know. I don't feel like I've reached that many people, even though I know I've reached millions of people.
Yeah. Well, you're in the open. I mean, in that case, you're in the open door strategy where you open a door for someone, you know that it did something good, but you don't. It's like a ripple.
Yeah, I have no idea what really came of it. But then people tell me, right? Like people like come up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I created this like amazing partnership, and I met this person through your thing." And I'm like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
But I'm just like not. I actually feel like I haven't been present in my own community for a minute.
Yeah, and
so I'm doing that now. I'm coming back online now. Video is the core strategy behind that. And I say strategy, but it's like it's not even a strategy for me anymore. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited that you came. Yeah, I'm excited that you came because I'm like I could have been doing other things, but I'm happy to do this. This is what I want to do. And so now I'm like finding my love for the art again. And for the longest time, it was just a strategy. Like it wasn't just a strategy. It's like I was learning the strategy and understanding it. So in that, I couldn't be as present to doing the work all the time because I was in the learn phase. Right. It was like I was building my muscle to be the black belt at something. And so now I'm like I don't want to say I'm out of the dojo. I'm still very much in the dojo, but I've got a lot more to share and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, man, you make powerful content. Like your voice comes across, your intent. You know, I always look at benevolence, values, and ability, and like all three come across really well with you. Like nobody watches your stuff and says this guy doesn't care. I think you have other things, you know, to work on, but those three things, I don't think anyone looks at you and says you're not capable, caring, and have a value system.
I think the biggest thing that comes across is that yes, I'm dedicated to some level of impact and I'm passionate. Yeah. I think those are the two things that come across. Yeah. What would you say is the worst? Like, what would you say is the thing that I need to work on that comes across? I'm curious about that.
Well, I think it goes back to like, well, there's two things. Like one is like I just want to hear from the people you've impacted more, and I want them to impact me. You know, it's that viral current. Yeah. Like I think you've impacted so much, and you've been on the front lines of this. But I think it's time you train the next, you know,
and put them on stage.
Yeah, and let people have their relationship. But on another end, it's like when I saw you work, man, like when I saw your dedication to what you did, like I was absolutely blown away. And it's crazy because we did all the course together and I saw your dedication there. But then, then Costa Rica was like a whole other thing. And it's like, this is where I talk about like story and experience. It's like if people just experience that, and I hope I did a good, you know, because I did make you some vlogs. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if people really, it's almost like you need somebody who, here's the biggest problem about hiring a videographer. They normalize you. Am I right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They normalize you. I look at you and I'm just like, whoa, this is, and I would hope to stay like that. Even if I quit everything I do and was in-house, just like constantly looking at it like that with you, because the subtleties, you know, subtlety is the key to like psychology. Yeah. And I think with someone like you, I don't think for whoever's responsibility this is, anybody knows how legit you are. I think they could put together the picture and be like, oh, he's doing this, he must be like this. Yeah. But dude, like, you know,
ironically, they're putting together a picture that I don't want them to put together sometimes. Yeah. But it's just like what I do. I'm so effective at what I do in some ways that they're actually putting together a picture that makes me, for me, feel less authentic. Yeah. Ironically. And it's just because I'm good at certain things, but now I want to like come out the other end where I do like, I actually believe the biggest thing I can do is have a D-Rock. And that was like the whole conversation, even when you came to Costa Rica, I was like, that is the thing that I need more than anything because Gary Vee, I'm more of a Gary Vee style creator than I am like a Peter McKinnon style creator. And, you know, for those of you who are listening, Gary Vee, the entrepreneur, if you don't know him, you do know him. you just don't know that you know him.
You didn't know that was his name?
No, he's an entrepreneur that makes a ton of content. He mainly focuses on making vlogs, chopping those vlogs down into smaller pieces, and he's just kind of documenting his life. Whereas Peter McKinnon is more systematic about what he creates and does. He does it very powerfully and beautifully, but there's a mix between the two.
Pros and cons, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually love the balance between I love where like Casey Neistat goes with it. But the mix between all three of those people is kind of like what I think I need to do more of. So I do need to make a lot of help content, and I have done that. I've just done it behind the paid gate, right? Like I've created Superhero Academy, and a lot of it is free, or lots of sections of it are free. But now I just need to take that content and the best stuff and just like package it and put it out.
Yeah.
And like do the thing that is searchable and the help and headline content and all the things that go with that.
Yeah.
And then I need to spend more time really telling my story, really crafting my own message, and like stop trying to outsource it, which has been challenging for me because I've tried to get other people to like help me tell it.
I think that we agreed on that.
Still outsource
I think someone should.
I think somebody should help me capture it and outsource it, extract it from me.
Yeah.
Let's say, but I can't expect them to like.
You got to be just as involved. Yeah, you got to be involved.
Yeah, I need to be involved. I need to be involved in that process.
Yeah.
And do that more because I do fucking struggle with this shit. Yeah. But I'm dedicated to a level of greatness with it that is sickening.
It's inspiring, man. Imagine,
maybe for me it's sickening. Like it's like a disease for me sometimes. Like, and I say that with love because I love what I do. But I get really depressed when like I can't get something to work. Like it's an ungodly amount of time for me playing with Cinemaker and these audio because I didn't know anything about audio, so I had to learn all of this stuff. Like you know, in the background here, Adobe Audition. I've never used Audition before. I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about audio. I knew nothing about a preamp, but I still don't know what a preamp does fully, like proper. I couldn't explain it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of that is part of this like learning curve, and I'm just dedicated to that thing. And I'm such a geek that I don't stay long enough to like try and oversell it. Yeah. And yet, ironically, I think a lot of people would see me as a very good enroller. They associate sales to me. But that's not what I want. Like, that's not who I am, or that's not the way I'm trying to be. It's like more that I'm just effective at communicating something and not mincing my words about it, and being able to like break it down into something that people more easily understand. Yeah. But I'm long-winded about that sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'll challenge you on that one.
I appreciate that.
Which is that, like, I think you've told a lot of stories, and it's creating this like mixing pot of stories, and then people out, you know, for whatever reason, are having this other story on you. So you're like, what's the next story?
Yeah.
Like that I could tell, and that to me gets like, I'm just as confused as you are. Like, I'd like to see a video of you just like for 4 hours, like just like planning things. Like, stop, don't teach me, like show me something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need, like, I think when people experience you, not in front of it, like not doing anything because the camera is there, is where something really, where the
story, real value is.
Yeah, where you let people build it, and this is almost giving more control because you're like, people are having the wrong story. Well, let's give them more.
Let's show them more of the content.
Let's give them more reality to work with to pick even another story that's going to freak you out. But it's like, I would love to watch you just, you know, building a shack.
Yeah.
You know, because that, showing that without saying anything says a whole lot.
Yeah.
And is going to totally reroute, wow, this guy is a hard worker. He doesn't just sit in front of a camera and tell me what to do. Like, this guy, like, is a problem. And there's all these things they're going to build about you without you having to mold it. And
they don't see that part of it because they're always seeing the overly produced version of what I'm capable of. Because I'm so good at creating that environment where I can make that overly produced thing.
That's where videographers are fucking things right now, right?
I know.
They're making it.
They're making it
10 seconds.
It's actually less authentic that way. Because it's like, oh, well, you set up the lights and did the thing, and now it's less authentic. Whereas if you just saw me live streaming while and like just talking while I was setting up the greenhouses yesterday at our farm, like literally putting on a tarp, getting dirty as fuck and like sweating. And it was like, you know what I mean? But like in that moment is when I'm the most authentic version of me. And it's not because I'm not authentic right now. I'm 100%. I'm not even in character of any kind.
Yeah.
And when I create some videos, I will. I'll say that. But I'm not in a character right now, and this is why I'm so sold on live streaming for me. Because I do want to live stream more. I just want the fucking tech to work for me all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I'm here to just tell you, man, is, you know, I think 70% of who you are is not what you say. Like you in particular. I wouldn't say this for anyone else. But I think just watching you work and how you problem solve things, how you've built this place, like I'm sure you didn't build this place like talking the whole time. You know, you just did it. So, like, I think that 70% needs to be called for, you know, accounted for in your content. I think when people see you and just without you being hyper aware of the camera all the time, they see who you are, that's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing moment. And,
I think
because
my
it's
moment
what made
is coming.
me believe it. That's how I know I can sell a company, is when there's something that just happens where I believe in them. Because I know all I got to do is create something that talks to my 30-minute self, you know, whatever. Yeah. And for you, man, just watching you go out your shit, like, was absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. You know, like, just watching you accomplish stuff and how you did it. And, like, I'm not just trying to...
No, but I think you're telling me the truth. Like, you would tell me if I was fucking up, and that's why I appreciate it. I appreciate you for it.
Yeah. But I aspire to have that type of work ethic, because I don't. You know, I just don't. But, you know, I'm building things. Like, I'm going on missions. I'm strengthening you. You know, I'm doing things. But in all honesty, like, that work ethic sets a bar for people. It's like when you go to high school with someone who became famous, you're like, wow, I could have became famous too, because I was around that. And it was just as normal as me. And you know, I think for you, it's like when people see not just the concepts and the ideas that drive your life, but they see how it actually manifests into work ethic and your whole operating system, man, is just amazing. So, yeah, I just think
I want to do more of that.
Build a tiny house video or something. Like,
well,
just do some shit.
No, but that's you know. Oh yeah. You know what? For me, I know that is 100% correct, and what I need support in, and whoever's watching this, if you're on my team or if you're not on my team,
be on my team.
Be on my team. I just need somebody to capture it. Yeah. I've just struggled. I've just struggled because I'm so effective, and then the thing is, and I'll admit this, I'm so effective that I also set a bar that's so high. Like, because I'm capable of their talent, that they actually fear that they're not making it the way I want them to. And the whole thing that I want them to do is to just make it the way they see me. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what people find inspiring about what I do. I really don't. Like, I have an idea. I can see where the vanity metrics or the results that they might think are inspiring. And I don't think they're inspiring at all. I don't think having 620,000 followers on Facebook is inspiring at all.
But let me ask you this. Do you think putting on that event was inspiring?
I do think putting on that event was inspiring.
That's what I'm talking about, too.
I do know that event was inspiring.
But
I know that I was inspired. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I know when I'm being my best self and I'm really pushing.
Yeah. So fuck vanity metrics like that.
I don't give a fuck about the vanity metrics at all. I don't care to sell anything. Yeah. And I say that so powerfully and genuinely. I don't give a fuck about selling it anymore. Like, all I want is to pay my bills at this moment and save a little bit of money to start paying myself. In 2018 is the first year I started paying myself. Actually, untrue. In 13 years of entrepreneurship, the first 3 I actually paid myself. $12.50 an hour when I was running an indoor skate park. And then for like years, I basically didn't pay myself because I would take small things, or I'd pay for trips. My company paid for a bunch of my lifestyle basically. But this is the first time I have my own apartment. This is the first time I have like my own place. This is the first time I have a studio. This is the first time I'm like truly doing the thing I want to do and decorating my own space. The first ever fucking time in my life. I'm 30. I was 30 years old when I moved in here. You know what I mean? Like, so I know that the one thing that I have that almost nobody else has is the amount of dedication and passion that I bring to something.
Yeah.
I'm less talented than most people. I'm not as good of a videographer. I'm not as good of a storyteller. I am a good enroller because I'm dedicated and I'm passionate. That's it.
Yeah.
And everything else is my sheer will to hold a vision and then execute that vision with the highest potential standards because I want to give the most amount of impact and value to the other person.
Yeah. That's the finite resource, though.
Yeah.
Force.
Yes.
Force.
Yes. And so that's the 3D that I'm dealing with that I need to scale to the 5D, right? Or to the online digital realm. Mm-hmm. And I'm having a hard time capturing that.
Yeah.
Because I'm capturing it.
Yeah.
And so when I'm capturing it, it's not that I'm cutting anything out. It's not in the editing room that's happening, in fact. It's when am I feeling like actually filming?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Like, when do I actually want to turn on the camera?
That's the big one.
So when I turn on the camera, I'm already inspired. So I'm coming at you as Markangelo, not as Mark, right? And the balance of my character is like, sometimes Mark is a fucking piece of shit that's like lazy and tired and doesn't want to cook and just orders on Uber Eats. That's most of the time I feel lazy. Like, believe it or not, I feel incredibly lazy. And the reason I wake up in the morning is not because I'm inspired sometimes. It's because I'm like, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
And so I need to find a way to also shift my own energy away from this I'm doing something in avoidance of pain or out of guilt or shame, like, or the lack of, like, to avoid shame, not just because I'm shameful, but to avoid shame, into an energy where I'm just truly excited.
Yeah, excited.
And the only way I know how to do this at this moment is to go on an ayahuasca journey, and that's what I'm going through. For real. Like,
yeah, I feel
it's the only, I know that my soul needs some level of cleansing from the perspective of somehow through all of my experiences, I've collected a certain amount of bitterness and pain from the world of marketing and the world of entrepreneurship and the ways that certain things played out for me. And I'm not being the victim here at all. It's more like I just hold too much of the baggage. And then the other thing I did is I held so much responsibility for other people's results, but not just like clients, but like my friends. Like, people come up to me and are like, fuck, I have no way to pay my rent. There's a guy literally lives downstairs. And he was talking to me. I'm not going to name his name, but he was talking to me about, like, he needs more gigs. He's in between jobs, and he's like going to get kicked out, evicted, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, fuck, like, all right. And then I find him a job, and I get him a little bit of cash, and, like, I'm just like so giving in that way. But I have to kind of remove myself from the responsibility of that. And more importantly, I know that if I captured that, not as a strategy, but just as like like, you have an opportunity, person who's watching this at home and is being lazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you have an opportunity to step in and be a better version of yourself. Not because I tell you to, not because I'm better than you, just because you can see what I'm doing and you're going to want to do more. That's how I feel when I watch Gary Vee. Most of the shit he says, I already know. I beat him to some punchlines. Like, I have documented proof that I've said things that he now says that I said, like, before. And I'm not trying to beat anyone. It's just like, it's a concept because I'm a student of what I know, and he's a student of human attention too. We're both students of a very similar art. And so there's just a dedication and passion that comes with that, and it's irreplaceable. But I think you have a ton of work ethic, in my opinion. So from where I'm standing.
Well, I know how to pull big levers. So,
That's
like,
fair.
when I do work at something, I work at something that's going to create a big splash.
Yeah.
I don't work on the small things.
And you're focused because of that, maybe because of your I don't want to say lesser work ethic from your perspective. I don't see it that way, but from your perspective, you also focus on the things that work, not just being busy for busy's sake.
Yeah,
it's
I like
you focus on the
experimenting,
data.
but yeah, you're right.
You like experiment. I know you do,
Yeah,
but what I'm trying to say is that you're still you're very good at aiming at proven strategies and tactics.
Yeah.
And doing them tastefully. And I'm more of a tinkerer. I think I'm like a really experimenter at all times, but to a detriment, to a fault. Like, I need to be less of that. Yeah. And it's I like to equate it back to the difference between planting tomato plants and fruit trees. And I think you're more balanced in your gardening, in your format. meaning you are planting a lot of fruit trees. Like you're investing deeply into the future by planting things that will yield results for you well into the future. And that's why you have multiple assets that you've created or you have a stake in that you don't necessarily run, but that you supported. And you even said it earlier, you're like, I'm entering more of the investor mindset where I want to build other people's stuff and participate in the winnings with them. So that's like your version of fruit trees. Yeah. But you also are very good at like launching a course that's incredibly niche, incredibly focused. All the lines are very, very clear, and it can make clear money right here, right now, can provide value right here, right now with the technology, and you're not letting technology and like the perfect thing get in the way, whereas I am. So it's like, I'm so not a tomato farmer, but I need to be if I'm going to feed myself more.
Or you need to keep the right people around you.
Or I need to keep the right people around me.
It's like this idea we need a changer. It's like, you know, Gary Vee, don't fuck off on your weaknesses, triple on your strengths, and keep good people around.
That's true. Maybe I should just hang out with more tomato farmers.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus has made me an absolute beast, dude.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I have a Marcus in my life that I'm partnering up with. He's doing our Facebook ads course. And we just filmed it 2 weeks ago, and it's going to go online on Superhero Academy soon. And his whole thing is data-driven. His whole thing is like, we send traffic to landing pages, and people convert if they want to, and we just like focus on making the conversion. He was a copywriter, and you know, they spend over $1 million a month in Facebook ads now for their clients.
Nice. Who is that?
They're called Magic Agency, based out of Boulder. Okay. Yeah, so we're partnering with them and launching their course.
Yeah, you'll know you find a Marcus because, I mean, in all honesty, they'll kind of annoy you. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I want somebody to annoy me, though.
I want to say one last thing about this video thing. Yeah. I've been holding on to this point you said something about. Yeah. It's like, nobody likes the friend that's always trying to teach them something. Because in order to teach someone something, they first have to admit that they don't know it. And if you put them in that constant state of feeling like they need things, meaning that they're not sufficient enough, because that's kind of the subconscious thing that's happening, right? Is like, oh, I need to learn another thing because I don't know something and I'm dumb. Or like, that's to the extreme. But yeah, it's most relationships are built off shared experiences and communication in volume. But sometimes just shared experiences. Like if I went outside right now and saved someone from getting hit by a car, like we would build like that, the strength of that, like that didn't take time. Yeah. That took, you know, something. So I just want to remind everyone out there to not just like always try to teach something, but what experiences can I share with someone? A lot of the greatest relationships between best friends are just fucking mundane experiences.
Yeah. It's not one person teaching the
That's
other
why I say
person.
like show what you do, because you have an amazing ability to teach. I think like the biggest thing is creating the space where they're ready to be taught by you, because they've like built something with you, or like they've sat and like, I don't know what it is because I don't know your reality that much, but there's something
No, but it's part of it. I think the reason for me is that I'm so tough on myself that I'm constantly in a state of learning, because I constantly feel like I'm an idiot. Yeah, I constantly feel like I'm behind. I constantly feel like, but that's just like my own anxiousness.
And you want to impact people, so you're like, look, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
How do I help you? How do I help you? Help. But help means help towards other people. Yeah. Is a cry for help for my own self.
Sure, and it's just
in my own mind.
Like I said, it just takes a strong relationship for people to hear you out. And I've been trying to help my friends. Like, I still haven't cracked this code, but that's why I get people to pay me a lot of money, because it's like the ultimate agreement. Yeah. Like they're invested.
They're going to show up.
They're ready to change. It initiates the change. But yeah, dude, I just like, I know you. I'm one of the privileged people who got to see you. Mm-hmm. And,
you saw me at work.
And you've made videos that do that. I'm just saying, I think now that we live in this world where you're going to be making hundreds of pieces of content all the time, it's like showing you shave your face, showing you get like, what are you doing? Yeah. And it's like stuff like that I feel is just going to very subconsciously get people to relate and respect you enough to be wide open for all this other stuff. Yeah. And
I thought about live streaming my power hours, which is like an hour-long work session where I'm just like working on something really powerful. I would do a normal power hour because that's how I go about it.
Those are the things that you should flex your creative ability on and make it short. I think those are the like not too short to where they don't understand the work that was put in. Yeah, but just like show a power hour in 2 minutes. Like for someone, what did I do over the last hour? In 2 minutes, if someone can see that you focus, like all those things that they don't have, right? Yeah. The focus,
But ironically, that's all in Superhero Academy. I did that, all of that.
That's great.
But I have
Front
to,
end.
Yeah, now I have to put in the exactly. I put too much time into the defense, and it's because I never felt fully empowered in my offense. I do now.
Yeah.
Now I feel like my limitations sometimes are more around like just the tech fucks up, just stupid shit, things that drive me nuts, or just like needing somebody to just be like, "Oh, you feel like shit? Turn on the camera."
Yeah.
And then it's like I entered my best state immediately. It's a huge part of why I want to document so much.
Yeah.
Is because I know that, like, I'll give you an example. My house will be more clean if I know somebody's coming over than if somebody's not coming over.
Yeah.
Everyone does, right? Everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So we're motivated externally in some way, shape, or form. Now, I'm also motivated internally. The difference is my motivation internally, my standard of clean internally is insane that I'm like, I almost can't go there enough. Like too much, like is what I mean. Sorry. It's like I become like kind of OCD about shit. Like I become OCD about the quality of this whole podcast. I'm like, oh, I bet you these mics can be a little louder. I bet you somebody listening right now is thinking that it could be a little louder, or that we could dial it in a little further. I bet that I could put a little caller here and get somebody to call in, one of the 7-8 people who are watching right now, or whatever, right? And then make that like pop in, or I can have a soundboard that would go, you know what I mean? Like, and like do a laugh track or something, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm constantly like in that state, but I need to take a little bit of my own I have to slow down and take my own medicine. And that's why I'm dedicated to staying here this winter. It's been like 7 years that I've left all the time every winter in a row. And, you know, sometimes it's California, sometimes it's this. I mean, I came out to Santa Barbara and was with you, then went to Costa Rica 4 years in a row. This is the first year that, like, yes, I'm going to Peru in October, though, and then coming back beginning of November. I think I'm going to be here all winter, as painful as it sounds.
Just change shit, dude.
Yeah. But I'm just going to, like, make so much content. Like, I'm just going to, but not for everyone else. Like, just because I know I want to create it. Yeah. Like, I'm just naturally inspired by showing the process and giving away all the secrets, like the 4 H's, right? Hero Hub, Help Headline, that whole thing. Like, I want to produce that so fucking well. I don't care if it's free. And I'm not, like, building it because I have a specific funnel that I want to build. It's not at all that. I just want to make it.
Yeah. And
I know that it will create value for me and a ton of other people going forward. And that's why I feel motivated by it. Yeah, so I just know that if I get to tap into that inspiration and I tap into my discipline, believe it or not, I feel like completely undisciplined. I will find a new power, because my discipline right now again comes from some level of pain or shame. It's like today I woke up and it was like, we had a late night yesterday. I was at the farm. We had a dinner, farm to table dinner. I stayed there all, for some time. I got back home and I woke up this morning, and by the time I was like up and doing anything, it was 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And the reason I got up at 10 a.m. and I didn't stay until 11 a.m. is because I just felt guilty.
Yep.
And I don't know how to not feel that way right now. But I'm finding out how to do that. And, I'm kind of slowing down enough finally in 13 years of entrepreneurship to feel and experience my emotions again.
Yeah.
And my like humanness again.
I have a concept about this because I relate to it. It's kind of out there, but it's what I believe. Mm-hmm. So I believe in simultaneous time, right? Like everything's happening now, kind of thing, future, past.
Sure.
And then also believe in multiple dimensions, right?
Multi-universe kind of thing.
Multi-universe stuff. Yep. It's just what I believe in.
Yep.
So what I realize is like, through this way of thinking, basically, the reason that we're always unsatisfied, in my opinion, this is like the theory, is that we're connected to a self that is doing better, that does have that thing on this table, and we feel a disconnection to that self.
Yeah.
And this is what's always got me really excited, actually, about life is, and I think what makes me a pretty good coach is because I not only see what people are capable of, I'm connected to the person that's actually there, and I'm trying to bridge gaps. And I think for people like us is like, we're constantly envisioning the future, and we have a strong connection to it, and we yearn to bridge the gap. And when we're not there, we feel like like what do they call that, distance, like homesickness almost, like like the feeling of distance and not being in the right place, because we are connected to the place that is better. You know, we do have a sense of that place. And the only thing I would say about that is the only trick to get to that place wherever you're trying to go is lightness, to be light, to be intentional and in belief that you can be there. And I think being hard on yourself makes you dense. It makes you
100%.
inability.
You're so correct.
Yeah. So in my own like kind of belief system, I try to let the disconnection between where I'm at and where I want to be act as an excitement, because excitement's like a very fun energy to play with.
Versus anxiety. And it's the same, felt in the same spot in the body, right? Excitement and anxiety are
it's just
similar.
misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude, I think that's like the exciting part about if you were to believe something like that, is that it really does exist.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I believe it. I've been there, and that's why I've been able to build momentum in many runs in my life. I've built a ton of momentum, but I've been in pain for some time now.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't even know exactly one specific reason, but there's been a lot of things that have just like destroyed the fabric of not my belief, because I'm super powerful in my belief and what I know I'm capable of and doing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I
Do you think it's a worthiness thing? Like, because I've had struggles with worthiness.
Yeah,
I'll make
I think
a
it's
lot
like
of money
enoughness, right?
Yeah.
Like, am I enough? Am I doing enough?
Yeah.
I think it was like the way I was raised. I think it's sometimes related to the result. That sometimes like I put so much energy, but then I don't feel the result plays out. Like it's just like forces of nature sometimes. Like, last year, like for example, we put up a greenhouse yesterday at the farm, but we had put up this very same greenhouse, or we had put up the first greenhouse last year on March 31st, and a few days later, I'm on a flight, and then where was I going? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was going somewhere. I was leaving for a while. And 90-kilometer-an-hour winds, or whatever, I don't know what that is in miles per hour, maybe 60 miles an hour wind or whatever. 50 something. Just come in and they just tear up our entire greenhouse.
Yeah.
2 days after we put it up. And it completely stunted like our growth in that whole year. Because it's like we lost 2 months on the season, which meant that we couldn't do certain things, but also caused us to have to like clean up more. There was like a million things that came with that. And I just feel like I've experienced a lot of those realities. And the reason I've experienced that, or my guess as to the reason I've experienced that, is because I've compromised a ton. Not on my values, but just on my ability to support others versus the things that I know are true for me. And so I just need to realign myself with my own core mission and vision, and just unapologetically go after it and unapologetically create it, and be the Steve Jobs sometimes that's just like, fuck your shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck about your excuse as to why we couldn't execute this thing. This is the level of expertise and professionalism that I demand in the people around me and the clients that I choose. Not only of like my co-conspirators. In fact, my teammates do great jobs. Many times the clients, the people I've taken on, and the fact that I even have clients sometimes. Like clients meaning from the perspective of like marketing agency style, not clients in Superhero Academy, or students or whatever. And I don't want just students too, because I do learn from clients. I do learn from diving into another business and like completely thinking about it differently than just me teaching. I don't always want to be the teacher, and that's why it's super important that Superhero Academy has moved to being a multi-teacher online school. It's because I will be now engaged in promoting other people's stuff. Filming Marcus's course, we filmed in 5 days. Whole Facebook ads course filmed in 5 days.
Yeah. And
like systematically, I recorded and created and backup audio, this, that, and the other. Like I fully systematically took care of the entire thing. And he did a phenomenal job because he also knew his stuff. And so it's like when you really are at the caliber of non-compromising, things work. But sometimes,
Yeah, it's just hard
know.
when they don't work and what that does to your mind.
yes,
You know,
and that's like been challenging for me.
Yeah, like I'm big on having expectations,
Yeah.
but then not, but then also not. If like this duality of opposites, like Gary Vee talks to me, like if you went, and I'm honest, like you can do this, man, I won't get mad at you. But if you went downstairs and lit my Tesla on fire, like I'm not gonna get that mad because I didn't expect you not to. Like I don't walk around with all these expectations of people, and it's quite empowering because then there's nothing to break.
And there's no disappointment that comes with like they didn't show up or it didn't happen this way or whatever. Yeah, I mean, look, I need to reclaim that power in myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I had a good talk with or Sam Colder recently, creative for those who are listening, makes beautiful videos. He's a phenomenal YouTuber. My opinion, not that great of a storyteller, but he's actually getting much better at it. He's a visual storyteller, phenomenal visual storyteller. He's getting better at like really telling a more cohesive story in that way. And so his latest video was more of that. And it took him a long time to edit. I think, you know, he like more intensely worked on it for I think 3 months, but he had been working on it for over 6 months. And he had shots from like, you know, years of footage. And here I am, you know, comparing my one shot in this one day, this one shoot versus years of his footage, number one. That's one thing. But number two is he talked about the balance between collaboration and isolation. And I've spent a lot of time, as much as possible, in collaboration. And like you're doing a road trip, you're in more of a collaborative state versus an isolated state. And that's why this winter for me is going to be like much more of an isolation state. And it's going to be me realigning myself with all things that are me. Like the reason I'm not having a Heineken right now is not because I don't want to join you in having a beer. I'm not even much of a drinker at all. But it's because I'm doing a cleanse because I'm reclaiming my discipline.
Yeah.
Because I'm very disciplined in showing up and I have a very hard work ethic. But again, that comes from a place of hard on myself, not light. It's a dense energy, not a like an open energy.
Yeah, that's the irony of this world is like at a certain point, the only way, like giving up power is the only way to expand it.
There is some level of surrender that needs to come before you get to the next level.
Oh,
and I've done this many times. So if my hero's journey's gone over
just,
a million
you keep
times.
going more to the extreme, and that's like me. Like I try. You're like, well, shit's fucking up. I'm gonna get more control, or like they don't know my story, so I'm gonna tell fucking another one.
Yeah.
And it's like you go deeper and deeper, and
but sometimes that's not the way.
it's gonna make you better at control. But I just believe in dualities, you know, and holding the opposite as well, and because like that's if you have all these expectations and you freak out when they break. Like that's just a glass house waiting to get fucking broken.
Yeah, but I've lived in a glass house, like quite literally. I had that giant house with massive windows where I grew up. But also,
you
but
seek
in my
change.
mind,
You seek change. You seek evolution.
And I am evolved. Like I'm removing that persona or character away from me. But I was so good at building my character and persona that it's like back to the golf swing that I was talking about. I got so fucking good at certain things that it is so much more difficult for me to deconstruct those things.
Yeah, I feel that.
Than almost anything at the moment. So, yeah, I get a real opportunity to just go to the next level, and I'm excited about it.
All right, we'll make some videos out there, huh, people?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Go find Nick Koyama on Facebook, Instagram, wherever it is. He's doing some cool stories and all that stuff. I know he doesn't want to self-promote, but Video Warrior, check it out. If you're a videographer, you really want to be a part of it. I'm interested. I think what he's doing is genius. I want to partner with him if he'll let me. And see you in the next episode.